Hi, this is Dr. Econ with another episode of Talking Financially. Today, I want to talk about debt. What is debt? Why should you stay out of debt? Why should you get out of debt if you have some? You know, those are very good questions that I hope to answer during this video. Come on with me and we'll see. So, you know what I'm thinking about when I look at this graphic here? I have an aunt in California. She's pretty wealthy. Frankly, she's so wealthy that she buys a new Lincoln Continental every single year. That's wealth, of course. And, you know, I never got there, but she did. But here's the situation. If I came to her like this and asked for a $5,000 loan, she would not answer this way. She would not say, "Of course, darling, here you are." No. She didn't get wealthy. Her and her husband didn't get wealthy by just loaning out to every Sam, Dick, and Harry that was their nephew or aunt or whatever, uncle, whatever. This is called an unsecured loan, when the person giving the loan doesn't have any ability to recoup their losses should that person not pay. So the kind of person that she would be more like this. "Can I have a loan paid back in 12 months? He says, "Yes, but I want your car for collateral." That's called a secured loan. That means that the loan is secured by an asset that you give up if you don't pay back the loan. So let's talk about these two types of debt. Unsecured debt is a debt where the loan is not backed by any underlying assets. In fact, these loans are a lot like the loans that we get every single day. You know, when you buy something with your credit card, it's an unsecured loan. I mean, you go to Home Depot and buy construction tools and stuff, come home and you decide to default on the credit card, they're not going to come repossess your Lowe's stuff. They're not going to care what you spent the money on. They're just going to ding your credit history and move on. Personal loans, if you go get a personal loan for whatever, a lot of times these are just signature loans. Consolidation loans are probably just as bad as personal loans. Consolidation loans, basically, they're just consolidating the bad debt you already have, and they make it look really appealing, even though those rates are probably just as bad as your credit card. They make it look real appealing because they've gobbled it all together and put it under a single loan, and with a single loan they run it out 60 months or so, and they make it look really appealing because your payments are lower than you would have made on the credit cards. But they get you in the end too. Now, payday loans are by far the worst. You know, those are the kind of places you go up and you show them your pay stub from the last paycheck you had, and they give you a loan for the next paycheck based on how much you actually make, at least on the last paycheck. You write them a predated check and then they cash it when it comes time for the loan to be redeemed. When you calculate the annual interest rate on those, they're like 200-300% interest. So they're not very good. The other kind of loan is a secured debt or secured loan. That is backed or secured by collateral, and that collateral reduces the risk to the lender. Now that's important. We're not talking at all about reducing risk to the borrower, ever. Everything is stacked to the favor of the lender. All the contracts on unsecured loans like credit cards or secured debt, all of it is biased in the favor of the lender and not the borrower. The borrower is in the lender's debt. And if you've ever been in debt to a neighbor, a friend, because they've done a big favor for you, that's the kind of thing we're talking about. You're in debt and they're going to come and get their due eventually. So secured debt is like your mortgage, your auto payment, auto loan. Recreational vehicles are similar to auto loans. And some, loan companies will actually loan on motorcycles. So with this knowledge of what secured debt is and what unsecured debt is, why would you want to get out of debt or stay out of debt? Now, that's a good question. what I want to do now is I want to go into a couple real life examples that hopefully will give you the understanding of why you would want to avoid debt, why you would want to get out of debt once you're in it, and the freedom that it actually gives you. So let's go on with the video. Well, let's look at a couple examples. Okay, first, let's take your credit card and let's go buy a cell phone for $1,000 and see how it racks and stacks. Well, the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to spend it on a credit card. I'm going to bring home that cell phone that same day, and my credit card charges 18.9%. Okay, or I have the option of saving for the phone at 1.5%. Okay, sounds like an interesting premise to start from. So, minimum payment on $1,000 on a credit card is about $40 a month. So we're going to save $40 a month to make the comparison equal. Okay. When we go to the next one, we can buy the phone immediately, and we're using that brand new phone, and it can do a bunch of good things that our previous phone didn't do. So we're really happy. We're made in the shade, but we can buy the phone after 25 months if we save for it. Here's a challenge. This is where the emotions get in the way of us being able to make good decisions at times. Buy the phone immediately or wait for the gratification to occur when we can pay cash. That's a bit of a challenge at times. But the big difference is I'm committing to $40 a month here regardless of whether I like the phone anymore, regardless of whether I have actually, used the phone. I might have traded it in for the next model, but I'm still paying $40 a month for quite a long time if you're just paying those minimums. Over here, when I pay for the phone, it's mine, and I don't have any buyer's remorse after any time because I'm not continuing to make payments. So how does that work? Well, I pay $1,000 for the phone here, pay $1,000 for the phone here. That's not a big deal difference. Here is where the difference comes in. $511.35 interest when you talk about 18.9%. Over here, I'm going to get paid a paltry $15.50 for saving for 25 months. But there's quite a difference in those dollar amounts. So we look for how long are these payments going to last? 71 months. Now tell me, people, how long do you keep your phones? Well, 48 months is 4 years. 60 months is 5 years. 72 months is 6 years. You're going to pay for this thing for 6 years? Paying minimum payment until you get it paid off? Well, wow, that's a long time. You're not going to keep the phone for 60 months or for 72 months to get it paid off. Over here, your payments last for only 25 months and they're prior to getting the phone. So it doesn't really matter after you get the phone. If you decide that 1 month you've got more pressing items to go afford, you cannot save for a month here. Over here, you're obligated to pay this $40 a month, whether you like it or not. If you don't like it and decide not to pay it, your credit history goes down. And who can live today with a bad credit history? Not very many people. You can't get ahead and can't move forward without a good credit history. Even getting a new job is dependent upon you having a good credit history if you want to get a good job. Okay, so let's go on. Here the phone costs $1,511.35. Here the phone costs $984.85 when you factor in the interest you've received. Okay, so basically, if you're looking for specials, the phone saving for the phone costs 35% less. And realistically, that's a good deal. Okay, especially on an item that's $1,000. That's not a whole lot of money. But the illustration is that a lot of times when we get into this habit of just putting things on credit cards and then paying the minimum balance, this kind of situation doesn't happen just once, but it happens over and over and over again. And eventually you rack up, a balance of $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on your credit card that you're working to pay off. And you're saddled with it for a length of time. Now, let's go ahead and look at a car. Now, understandably, there are times when you have to buy a car because the car's been totally destroyed. Maybe you were in an at-fault accident and you've got to go out and buy a car. We're not talking about those situations. We're talking about situations where you've got a choice whether to buy a car. And so let's buy a car. And here, with good credit, I can get a loan for 9.67%. This is the amount that I checked just the other day. Okay. If I save for the car, I'm going to save at the same rate that I was saving before, 1.5% or so. Okay. Now, I'm going to take my trade-in down there and get $5,000 for it. Same over here. That's no big deal. Here, I'm going to pay $421.70 a month if I get a 5-year loan or 60-month loan. Okay. And at 9.67%. So let's save that much over here. Okay. Okay, so now getting an auto loan here, you can buy the car immediately, bring it right home. Okay, you love that. Okay, over here you have to buy the car after you save. Now, if we're saving $421 a month, here we, we're going to pay out for 60 months. Here we'll see here in a moment how long we have to save for it. Okay, so the next thing, you pay $25,000 for the car. Of course, you pay the same amount for the car here. Now, you pay $5,302.04 in interest over here, over the term of the loan. Here you get paid $24.96. Now the key with this is the payments, of course, last for 60 months and you save for 46 months here. So saving for 46 months, you chop this down by a little over a year in the time that you would be making payments, and you pay $5,300 less. So here the car costs $30,302.04, and here the car costs $24,975.04. So basically, when you compare the two, you might not be able to save $421 a month, and over here you don't have to. Here, if Johnny goes and breaks his leg and you got to take him to the hospital and you got a hospital bill, or you have other emergency expenditures, you can say, well, I'm going to forego saving this money this month and go the next month and keep saving. Over here, you don't have a choice. You pay late, they ding your credit, and your credit history gets lowered, and your rating goes down. So here you've got flexibility, here you've got no flexibility. Here you pay a lot less. In fact, if we look at the dollar amount, $5,327 less. So the whole point to this is when you have a choice between credit and saving, saving will always save you money. You'll make less total payments in the end. And frankly, if you decide that $421 is too much for you to save every month, how do you believe you're going to pay $421 a month here every single month with no flexibility to make the choice whether to pay it or not? Now, this choice, you might come down and determine that that $25,000 car is a little too expensive, and you might lower your expectations on the value of the car you can really afford. Because if you can't save this month much, then putting it on credit is going to be just as difficult or worse. So let's look at a saying that I always like to go by. And that is, interest is a pretty high price to pay for the lack of patience. Simply put, if you've got a choice between credit and no credit, you're always in a better position to not pay the creditor the interest, but to save the money and go pay it in cash. It's more responsible, and it commits you to less outgo later on when you may not have a choice as to being able to spend that output, losing a job or whatever. So hopefully this has helped you. If it has, please hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please hit that subscribe button, and we hope to see you again. Bye.